All right, good evening to everybody here in the US, or as you say, good afternoon. If you are joining us in Monrovia, Liberia, let's say Liberia, not just Monrovia, Liberia, but in Liberia general. If you're joining us, chances are you are hearing us on Freedom FM 87.9. Welcome to the platform, Liberia Shall Rise. Today, we are actually going to be on the segment that says Table Talk. So, this is the segment where we come in and we take one issue that we feel like it is an issue that should be of national concern, national discussion, and we have a discussion on that particular issue. And one of the issues we are going to be talking about today, before we get into it, I'll give each of my guys time for them to actually go ahead and give that opening statement on this. But I want to just start by saying Liberians are book minded people. Liberians are people who fancy themselves when it comes to education. We love education. That is why our grandmothers, our mothers, our fathers, people are working hard to send their children to school. They are doing everything to make sure that our kids actually get the education, even if they themselves did not get that education. Liberians are very, very serious about education. And because of that seriousness of about education, we do everything we can, whether it comes to scholarship, we want to get it. We want to be the very best in our classes. If it costs us to walk from Front Street to Camp Johnson Road to go to school, we'll do it. Education is super important to the Liberian people. And because of that, our discussion today is going to be geared around education, whether it's a fake credential, whether it's a real credential, whether it's credential without qualification. We're going to be discussing that. And we're also going to be discussing scams for higher education in our country. These are troubling issues that we have heard of, and we are going to be discussing those. So we say, welcome to the show. Share the broadcast. It's super important to our people in Liberia. And so I'm bringing the rest of the team on. These guys going to give that opening statement, and we're going to go right into the question and answer session. Dr. George, I want to hear from you. How are you doing, and where are you today, boss?
I'm doing great. I'm in the beautiful city of Shippensburg. It's an amazing, awesome day. The weather now is my weather. 80 degrees yesterday, 72 today, 74 tomorrow. So I look forward to a great week ahead.
Welcome back to the platform, I should say, because you were on a business trip and you back now. I don't know if it was business trip or whatever trip it was, but you are back from South America. So welcome back. But this is educational topic we're going to be discussing. I think this is going to be one of those areas that I envy you because you spend your entire career discussing or working in this particular area. So, what is your overview of the topic we are discussing today? And just give me what you.
It is important for us to especially in our country, to discuss fake credentials, discuss this fake scholarship scheme that is going on. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to put in the work, but they want to enjoy the benefits of it. So yeah, it's one topic that interests me a lot. Over time, having had the privilege of working in various universities, I remember almost every year our credential had to be updated because, as you know, others, if you're not aware, in the university system, the credibility of your teacher is one of the criteria is news, especially if we see the University of Liberia is about what 3,000 and something in the world accredited listing. We don't have any Liberian university among the first 20 university in Africa, or among the first 100 university in Africa. So these credentials and other things become very important because it's uplift the academic environment. And also those who work. I mean, a couple of years ago, I think it was the foreign minister of France. It was discovered that his TC was plagiarized, and he had to lose his job because of that. So again, we have Mr. Martin Colley, who have been very great in signaling some of these fake credentials in our system, and it's good for us to have a conversation around it so our people can know. And then we have this fake scholarship scheme. Even the Liberian government was engaged in fake scholarship. So it's something that we have to educate our young people in Liberia. You put fake scholarship, it's almost like human trafficking now. And people have been stuck in Nigeria. Liberians are stuck in Nigeria. They are stuck in Ghana. They haven't paid thousands of dollars. The same thing with Liberians who have been stuck in Morocco because they feel that that they were traveling and it gave someone money to help them to travel. So fake scholarship is almost like human trafficking right now. And
Okay, let's get back to it. Sapulusia, let me bring you in. Let me just have your opening statement. Give me one quick 1 minute opening statement. I'll bring Dr. Positive in. I want your 1 minute opening statement, and we're gonna go right into the question and answer. Mr. Sapulusia, come on in. All right.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I want to say it's a pleasure again to be with you guys on this platform, and I want to be like Dr. George when I grew up, to be on business trip in South America to enjoy myself. But anyway, no. So this is a serious matter. You see, fake qualification or fake degree, it has less, more implication or more danger to society than people, kind of see it, in that you're going to be putting people in places that do not qualify to do the job. So when they get there, some of them will be learning the job and they may not learn the right way. Because most of us who are career oriented or who have the career background will know we have principles that we abide by, right? And if you have those principles under your belt from whatever degree or other discipline you're in, it is easier for you to learn on that job and push agendas that will benefit that career path. However, if you have a guy who just have a degree that was not earned, it is difficult for he or she to have impact in that particular career field because they won't know what the deficiencies are that they can correct. So those are things that we need to look at as well. And then the fake scholarship scheme that we see going on is horrible in that you see people scamming our brothers and sisters. I mean, I know most of you may have personal experience. I know I have few of those that have come across me, and I had to kind of do the research for my brothers back home to get those clear. But these are things that we really need to discuss, so that in order to build our country, in order for Liberia to rise, we would need the most qualified person who have earned, not just receive or pay for, but who have earned the degrees in the disciplines that they say they are qualified to perform. So I think it is a very crucial and critical discussion to have, and I hope we can be truthful to that and let those who are hearing it apply the necessary guideline to protect our citizens or our country from the
Okay.
danger of scam.
Okay, Dr. Positive, let me hear from you. Give me a quick 1 minute because I really want us to go into these segments so we can just get things going.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Again, thank you so much for this topic. Uh, I think one of the things I keep saying on this platform is integrity have to be taught in Liberia. It has to be like a national emergency, because if someone don't have integrity enough to feel like I'm going to represent something this big, and I don't have the qualification, that's already a fraud that the person is committing. So eventually when the person get that position, they won't really care what they do. They will just be there for whatever purpose for which they did that fake credential. So it should be something that our legal system, our justice minister, and everybody that has some power to persecute should be taken serious, because this shouldn't be something that should be happening in our country. Because a guy called Collie just killed somebody recently for that purpose, because he was a doctor doing operations, and that's impacting our people in a bigger scale. So it has to be taken as an emergency. And then when it comes to scholarship, the scholarship fraud, millions of our youth are being impacted. And again, if this is happening, as you see further in our president, our first lady's office, people that work for our first lady are perpetrating this crime. This is a serious thing. I don't know if the justice minister is involved in this, that they can really make this a problem that we have to take immediate action on. The country is in a serious problem if our students are being cheated and nobody is taking any action. So I would like to explain further on what I have to share, but this is a serious thing.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And again, we say welcome to all of our viewers. If you have any comments, you have any idea you want to call the show, we'll make some numbers available. But we would like to hear from you also, and those in Monrovia, to Freedom FM 87.9. We say thank you so much for taking this program live. Dr. George, I want to start with you with the scam. Here is my little opening here, and I'm going to bring it right to you. You are in higher education. You have always been in higher education. You spend your career and you have helped establish universities in Liberia. One of the things I noticed when I was in Monrovia, there was this shanty office I went to, and I was just curious. This thing just sent by itself, and people just every day I see young people going in this place. And so one day we went in the place. I went to the place and I said, "Hey, what kind of business do you guys run here?" And they told me this is on I was living on GSA Road, but from GSA Road, there's a little place you enter. They call it Peloton Community, all the way down the little corner there. You don't even know, think it is business. It's fenced. And they say, "Oh, here we help people to travel. We get a scholarship." What kind of scholarship? Oh, we help people go to US and Canada. He gave me the entire rundown, entire spiel. So I said, "How many people have you sent? And how many of those individuals are still on scholarship?" And because I was asking so many questions, the guy I was asking, he told me, he said, "Let me call our lawyer and maybe you can talk to him." So I said, "Oh, I would love to talk to your lawyer." The lawyer never showed. The lawyer never showed. And the next time we went to that place, we asked question again. 2 days later, the entire office have disbanded. They have moved out. So this scholarship scheme is happening and is taking place in Monrovia, at least I know of. One of the young people that are sponsoring Liberia just called me. He wanted $2,500 because he has been promised scholarship to Canada. How prevalent is this situation in Monrovia, Dr. George? You got 2 minutes on the question. Yeah. Dr. George, you are muted. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. A very prevalent. I don't know of any family in Liberia that have not experienced one way or the other. First of all, it starts with our mindset as Africans, especially those of us in the western part of Africa. We have the mindset that the grass is greener on the other side, that you can get best or better education outside of Africa, outside Liberia, and then that will open greater opportunities for you. So therefore, when you receive information of scholarships offers, many are willing to invest the money. Parents are willing to sell the land, get the last that they have in order for that one son or one daughter in the family to have the opportunity of going abroad and studying. So therefore, we do limited investigation. We don't investigate. Again, it is a great opportunity to study abroad. It is a great opportunity to study. It's a Nigerian adage that says that if you don't know, if you have never leave your father's compound before, you won't know how small your father. You think your father's compound is the biggest compound in the world. So you have the opportunity to travel and see other things. In the medieval ages, the way of getting higher degree was traveling. You live in your parents' house and you age 18, 19, and then you take a long trip. It was one of those trips that what his name was on, Charles Darwin was on when he started when he did his book, the how do you call it, of the species. So traveling is very important. And let me know how do you call it, but it's what we investigate, is how we take it up. So we have many people, as you said, about a year or so ago, one of my younger brother, in our Liberian term to say younger brother, because he grew up with my mother, he had called me telling me that he was in Sierra Leone. He was stranded in Sierra Leone. I said, "But what are you doing in Sierra Leone?" He said, "Oh, we had this scholarship. We went to a third-party country in order to process our visa to travel." So I had to call my younger sister in Monrovia, and then she gave me the whole story that they have even warned him. This thing doesn't look it doesn't look something that is authentic. So why don't you put in time and investigate? So he was founded there, and we had to raise money to bring him back to Liberia. So there are thousands of Liberians. Quite recently too, I received a call for a friend in Nigeria. There was a scholarship to go to school in Australia, and this person have called me that I need $1,600. Can you help me? And I really love helping people with education. So I said, okay. So we got our visa. I said, send me the visa. Let me see it. The visa that came was a form of letter. I said, what? The Australian embassy started offering visa like this in the form of letter? I don't know any visa. I don't know about you guys, but I've not gone to any country in the world that they offer me visa that was letter instead of the thing they send me my passport. So I took that document and sent it to my friend in Australia, and I asked them, "Can you verify with your foreign foreign ministry to see if this is authentic. And definitely, I mean, I have my own bias because visa is not issue overnight or you even going. I mean, some of us have gotten visa or going for interview, but it's not issue in the form of letters. So that's why we struggle. That's why we struggle with. Many of us want to go to a foreign country, and we are not even investigating the university that we go into.
And Dr. Josh, that's another piece of it. Will definitely come there again. But Sabolu said the same question to you: the prevalence of these scams in Monrovia. Because I'm glad that Dr. George is saying that this is not just limited to Monrovia or Liberia, but you also have other African countries that are being impacted. So how prevalent is this issue, and why are they still falling victim to these scams in the country?
So I don't want to kind of re-emphasize what Dr.
Sabolu,
George started.
Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you now. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't want to restate what Dr. George said because it is real. Because my own biological brother had the same situation where he told me that this scholarship he's supposed to go to England for scholarship, and somebody sent him an invitation through the email, and I told him to give me the invitation where he had saved $2,000. I should help him with $3,000, and I thought, okay, but send me the link. And when I looked at the link, why it is true that particular scholarship was real.
Somebody say your internet is breaking up really bad. It's going in and out. We're not hearing you throughout.
Our internet on this side is good.
Yeah, maybe you're not joining Steve's company, but it's okay. Try again. Keep talking.
So I'm saying the scholarship was an actual scholarship. However, it was not meant for Liberians. It was a scholarship intended for Nigerians who have a graduate degree, and England was referring those guys from England, from Nigeria, who has English background, right? That is their family in England, and got some connection there to go for that scholarship. But this person was trying to use that means to make him a Nigerian with a bachelor's degree already, pursuing master's degree in healthcare, which he has no clue about because he didn't even have a bachelor's degree. But you ask the why. The why is desperation. That's one of those things. If you look at our society, what Africa have turned to be, we have not been told, or we have seen our education to be lacking the qualification or the equity when it comes to international standard. And I think because poverty is part of that, we think that's another means of escape. Because I myself, when I was in Liberia, I didn't fall prey to that, but I was always researching for how I can leave Liberia on a student scholarship. We're always at the USA embassy, library there in Congo Town, right? Searching for these universities to see how we can get scholarship because we could not afford education in Liberia, especially if we who don't have people in government. So desperation, poverty, and the lack of resources to do personal research is causing our people to fall victim to this. How many people have data to go and research a scholarship or link that was sent to him or her? They don't have it. Right? So they will rely on whatever information I give them as a scammer, and they will run with it and start looking for the little money that they have, running to their people to say, hey, can you borrow me this? Can I have this? And then I will look for whatever I can consider different order and put it together and give to this scammer. But they have many problem or many situations where I have seen people raise up to I think there was one incident where they raised up to $5,000 and gave it to this group of people to send them out, and nobody got a scholarship, right? We saw that under the previous government, and it's happening under this government. So it's because of desperation, poverty, and a lack of resources in our own country to develop the young minds that we have that is causing some of these people to act or fall prey to these scams.
Stephen, let me bring you in. Because I know you researched this particular topic and you found like 3 different categories of how these scams are being perpetrated. So take 2 minutes. I know you can't absorb everything. But take 2 minutes.
I will share this for our viewers on Facebook. Yeah. But again, Mr. Sharif and everybody else, I think this is happening because our people are quick to trust people. The second thing here is people are lazy. People don't want to do research. And the third thing is the love of opportunity, right? The search for opportunity, like Sapolosi has said. So if you see this person, the trust we put in people is so quick, right? In the first lady office, two gentlemen was fired or put on leave temporarily because they were participating in this thing. So the first thing is the person that is perpetrating this crime. Who is this person? If this person is somebody that's very big, people will automatically trust them. So these guys here, um, people trusted them because they work in the first lady office. So government office is perpetrating this crime. So like I was saying, we have three forms: right? National scholarship perpetrated by government officials, uh, scholarship fraud perpetrated by citizens, and then international scholarship fraud perpetrated by big organizations, right? So if a company is already established, they have a website showing everything, say, hey, if you click on this link, you can fill up a form and submit. People start believing that. You understand? So for the situation now happening in Liberia, somebody tell me that the work from the first lady office, I automatically have some level of trust in that person. You understand? So if you look at this image, these guys were charging the family $4,000, right? $4,000 per family. If you put that number together, how many people did they impact, or how many people did they take this money from? And just from a basic number, if it's 100 individuals, you have 400,000. You have 400,000, right? If it's it's 40,000. If you have about 200, it's 800,000. So these guys are making a lot of money, you know. But the thing is, in this case, for them to just be suspended, that's why I'm saying the justice ministry have to be involved, because people are trusting people and people are letting them down. So for me, I think the key thing is the trust we place in people is so quick, and we're not willing to do our own research.
Thank you, Dr. Paul today. And Dr. Josh, I want to come back to you here real quick because we got about 10 minutes to wrap up this particular segment. This scholarship thing, I think Stephen brought up the point. One of the things that was happening, they were being perpetrated. And look, I don't want to spoil our brothers' names out there. I don't want to say Nigerians or Ghanaians were the ones doing it, but the office I visited, there were several Ghanaians in the office. And, you know, I'm a Liberian. I can pick up people's accent. I know when Ghana men talk to me, I know. You know, I pick up several Ghanaians in the office, and they were the backbones behind it. The Liberians that were in the office, they were just the administrative people. I guess they were administrative people. They were the faces of the organization. Because if I come in the office, a Liberian man talk to me, chances are it calms me down a little bit. I'm more likely to talk to them. So why are these foreigners coming into the country, and what is being done by our government? Are you saying, do you think the government doesn't know these things are happening in the country? They don't know about these shady businesses
Well, that's a great question. I mean, you sticking me to the point, and I hope to the wall. The issue, Mr. The issue here, Mr. Sheriff, is one: the government of Liberia itself have been involved in the scam. So, you know, we all saw the foreign ministry scam. Nobody was held accountable for that scam. So if the government itself is involved in scamming a citizen of a scholarship to go to a foreign country, it gives credence and scammer.
Stephen, please. I think you give us echo. Sorry. Go ahead.
It gives credence and opportunity to scammer. So Steve just talked about the office of the first lady. The gentlemen, they have not been punished. So we have two scams, two scams that higher educational scams that have been operated, one by the government at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and two by the government at the office of the first lady. Nobody has been held responsible. So if I was an academic, I was a foreign person in Liberia, I would start to believe that, well, these people like scam programs, so let me start mine. Again, the scam at the ministry or at the foreign ministry was orchestrated by Ghanaians. So and along with Liberian officers at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So if you see, if first of all the government itself, if the government itself is not holding itself responsible rather, who will you hold responsible next? when so people see this opportunity. First of all, scammers thrive in environment where there is opportunities. I would also like to thank my colleague now, my former student now colleague, Professor Obona, for joining us and sharing that we the issue of economic deprivation. When people are in a situation where they don't see opportunities, they seek opportunities, and these opportunities they seek happens to be if they believe the grass is greener on the other side. And that's why I like when we have programs like this could be you where Liberians are actually sharing the challenges they have in here. For example, last week when our guest share how she had to work in Wendy's because she came to easily realize that her parents were not keeping her in the home. Those are things we Liberians need to understand. But not to overflow your question, yes, I mean, you can only hold someone accountable for something you hold yourself accountable to. Our government has not hold itself accountable to scamming, and therefore people will see opportunity to scam.
Sapalucia, the same question to you. I want us to wrap up this segment, but let me bring that same question to you.
No, yeah. So Dr. George set it up. However, though, what measure have we put in place? The only time we hear about these things is individual citizens dig, and there is brought out. There is no institution in Liberia that govern these things. The Ministry of Education is the academic arm of the country, but they don't have any security guard measure that they can use to say, okay, let's vet this. There is no, first of all, there's no vetting process in Liberia, whether it is for academic or whether it's for career based. There is no vetting process. I remember when the Baka-led administration was coming in, some of us started suggesting to some of our friends that we know that, hey, you guys need to have a vetting process, even if you want to employ people from America. It's a simple system. Collaborate with Liberian institutions here. Let us go through the vetting process. Because if I go in for a job anywhere in America, they do a background check. And it's an easier process that you do. And every information about me will be put out there in less than a minute. That document can be presented to the Liberian government to say, okay, this person you're hiring, this is the amount of debt they got. Do you really want to hire him to be a Minister of Finance? Do you want to hire him to be? It's the same process. And academically, if somebody is going to teach at University of Liberia, what credential does he have? So if we can put vetting process in place and we have institutions that are checking for all this information to make sure we are getting the right people in the right place and holding ourselves accountable, then we'll deter some of these incidents from happening. But the fact that this government, as soon as it took office, in less than 4 months, we started hearing scammer, academic scams, not just employees, but scholarship. And I don't know the definition. When we were in school, the definition of a scholarship was different from what we're hearing today. Back in the day, when you heard somebody was on scholarship, you had to be an A student. That's what we knew going for scholarship. But these days, people who go for financial aid are considered scholars. So I don't know if scholarship is for scholars anymore or just for anybody who can just pay the money.
We'll let Dr. George answer that question. He will define scholarship for, but I'll go to Stephen real quick. Stephen, Riverside Pro is complaining. He said we're cutting the show too short. So I don't want to cut it short. I want us to have a number out there. Let Riverside Pro call in and give us his opinion. Let's definitely have a number out there that he can call in. But Stephen, please go ahead and make your point before I go into the next segment.
Yeah, you did not go around the bush, so you have to rephrase your question for me. So
no. So basically, I'm saying all of these scams are taking place. You have all these little shops all over the place, and people are paying money every day, scamming our young people, desperate young people, asking them bring $2,500. We'll send you to Canada on scholarship. Is the government aware, and what is the government not taking action against these people?
Okay, Sharif. So the first thing here is a common government official or common public servant make about $75, right? So even if we were to take this to the Justice Ministry office, right, and the Justice Minister decide, hey, we got to make this a serious thing, the guy under the Justice Minister makes $75. So if you find a thing where he can ask somebody to pay $2,000 and they pay it,
can you verify that he makes 75? The people make 75
yeah. So if this person is not making anything at all, right, and they find out that there's this scam that going on that I can participate in as the bona fide person, right? in a government office, I will be part of it. That's why you see that from the foreign ministry to even the first lady office is now participating in this thing. So come back to what we always say on this platform: the system that we put in place to prevent these things have to be built from the grassroots, right? Liberians have to start loving each other, because if somebody in the foreign affairs ministry care for Liberians, when Ghanaians are even coming to work at the foreign affairs ministry, will be finding out if there's no Liberian that can do that work, right? But then when we put the Ghanaians there to work, they now become our people that can lead these kind of things, because Liberians know Ghanaians got, they will clean Ghanaians got connection outside. So if a Ghanaian person stand up and say, I'm doing this program, they're going to follow through. And that's why these things are expanding, because I even know my little brother came to me for some money. And I said, no, I have shared websites with you for you to go and apply. Somebody is researching for you right now for you to go to a school in Norway. Those are legal things. When there's a scholarship, nobody will ask you to pay money up front except to register for the program, to apply for the school, the program you are going into. They will ask you to pay registration fee. Outside of that registration fee, we do not pay money for scholarship. And our kids don't want to listen. Our brothers and sisters in Liberia don't want to listen. Every other year, every other month, he has something to come up with. I say, there's another opportunity. You understand? And this get rich quick scheme, or this thing of getting out of Liberia, most of our kids are so much into getting out of Liberia, and you can't blame them because the system is not providing anything for them. So we have a big problem. I don't know when this will be solved, but all I want to tell people is reach out to your brothers and sisters in the US, or if you have friends in the US, ask them. If somebody tell you there's a scholarship, ask them to look up the school name. And then once the person tell you the school name, then you can start trusting that person a little bit, because I can call the school and find out what scholarship the school have to offer, and then help them to prevent them from the fraud. But once you tell them this is fraud, they're not speaking to you again for that whole month until they get into the thing, and then they eat their money before they come back to you.
Yeah, because in most cases they are thinking that you are preventing them from traveling. Oh, they may have time. That's all. Dr. George, let me come to you. I want to get now into the next segment. We're going to be talking about the fake credential and credential without qualification, all those different things. You know, over the years, I think Dr. George, as you rightly stated, Martin K. and Colley, he had been reporting or publishing lists of Liberians with fake or no credentials, and those individuals are holding prominent positions in Liberia. And some of them still are holding prominent positions in the government sector. I believe the goal for those publications, Mr. Colley put out, was to actually shame those individuals, or to make those individuals to invalidate their qualification. But despite his effort, these people are still holding offices in the country, and they were still holding these prominent positions. So I guess my question is, does Liberia even care about the credentials that these people bring to the table? Or is it just giving people positions based on who know you basis? Or they just doing it based on the number of battle cry that you shout out during the campaign season? So, I mean, they may not even care for the credentials. So, I mean, do they care for the credentials, Dr. George?
It depends. It depends what position you are
That's
being.
a political answer. I want a real answer. That's a political answer.
It depends. I mean, as we said a couple of weeks ago on the show, I think the Liberian president has 5,000 political appointments. The political appointees work at the will and the pleasure of Mr. President. You don't have to have master's degree, PhD, whatsoever on nomenclature you want to put behind your name. You don't have to have it. Is what is the will and the pleasure of the president. So we had a situation in the former government, George Weah government. The deputy minister in charge of planning and research was expelled from the University of Liberia, but he was also the deputy minister and the minister of agriculture. So logically, how can a researcher, when agriculture happens to the Department of Agriculture and carry works directly as a research branches in the country, you expect a deputy minister should not be expelled from the University of Liberia at that time. So, so you don't need any qualification for Mr. President to wake up one morning to say, I'm appointing you to this position. There are some positions, yes, based on the act of parliament, but it's political appointment. The president can maneuver his way, but depending on how many people he has in the Senate that is willing to project the president's agenda. We see the same thing in the country that we live in. We see in it here, and that there are people who don't have the necessary qualification, but they happen to have the political connection. So that's the first one of it. That's why I'm saying it depends. The second part of it is that you don't have to, yes, I know we are at a point in Liberia that we are throwing our master's degree. I personally believe that many of those institutions are running master's degree program in the country, they are not qualified. When I was working in Liberia, there was only 8 of us in the country that have PhD. PhD, not doctorate, 8 of us. And you cannot have a country at that time, and that's 2014. So we are in 10 years later, so many people have come up in the country. But you cannot run a university system or run a master's degree or doctorate program in any university system if you have only 8 PhD holders in the entire country. in the educational sector, PhD holders are academic researchers. And let me say this because people get confused. There are different types of master's degree and there are different types of PhD. Let me say there are different types of doctorate degree. So those of us who have PhD are those of us who told ourselves we want to teach in the university. So this academic degree, you have to go through the academic process. And so that's the second thing we struggle with in the university system. When I was working in the university system, if you had a doctorate, you were counted as one. You were counted along with the master's degree holders. Anybody coming for accreditation did not take doctorate holder very seriously. They kept them with the master's degree people. So you didn't get a lot of points for that. There's this image we want to project. We want to project that we have degrees when we don't have them. And there are so many opportunities to have degree on nowadays. But even with those opportunities, some of those institutions, someone got very angry with me about 3 or 4 years ago when I told him that degree you have is not a degree. And he was parading with a doctoral degree. You had to parade with that. So he got angry with me. He said, "What happened?" I said, "Okay, let's go to your university website. The place you say you graduated from." We pulled the website, and it's very clear. It's written clearly on our website that this degree that you have is not a doctorate degree, and some institution, very clear on the website, some institution will not even accept you as someone who, and this person went to that school. And that's the challenge I think most of our people are having. We don't read the fine line. If this institution telling you that our institution is not accredited, the degree you have is a 50-50 degree we're giving you.
That's a joke. That's a joke. Yeah. It goes back to what Mr. Sabulisha was saying. The vetting process, because someone had to take time to verify, validate.
It's not all our people, Mr. Sherry, it's not all our people who are trained in this process of vetting. Let me be let's put it there and be clear. It's not everybody in that country that is trained with the process of vetting.
Then you find the people who are trained to do it. I want to go to Sapo Lucia now. I know.
You want to see a university certificate and a degree. They don't take their time to go to the website of this institution. And these institutions are very clear with you. Very clear when they're giving you degree that doesn't matter. They tell you very clearly on their website that this degree we're giving you, it doesn't matter. It's only for perhaps working in our local pharmacy or working in like Walmart, giving you degree from Walmart University. They will tell you that it is only to work in Walmart. And then you pick up that degree, you want to go to.
But let me bring you in. Do we even care? The same question, all of these degrees stays taking place. Do we even care for the degree in Liberia? Or do we just give people positions based on I know you or sequoia, how many sequoias you give?
So the way I would look at that question is looking at where we are as a country. Now, I mean, when I say I may not care, that doesn't mean I'm not concerned about America. You see, America is already developed, it's already set, they have principle, they have system, they have working system in place. So if you tell me you appoint a man based on what the president wants, I'm totally fine with it. But looking at our country, that is, I don't know what is deteriorating in every structure. This is not the time for anybody who's becoming a president to be appointing people based on what he feels like, especially if you say you are patriotic, because most of them come and say they are patriotic to the country, they love the country, I love my people. But then you're appointing people who are not going to leave any mark that another man can build on. Let us look at the previous government, and I will come to this government. The previous government, we had people who some of us had to dig their credential, whether it was one time Deputy Information Minister, whether it was the RA man who was supposed to be RA or RIA or Managing Director and stuff like that. Think about that particular incident. The guy went to a community college, and the Senate was sitting there and trying to confirm a man who said who went to community college to get a certificate in aviation. He was an aviation technician, okay, from a community college. And I did a research because I had to dig everything.
I mean, Darlington Conley, he said
I didn't call name. I'm just saying. But then they're sitting there and they're trying to confirm a man who said he's getting his master's degree at the same community college. What sense does that make? You know, and when we put these things out there, so look, looking at Liberia, this is not a need. That's not a time, in my opinion, especially when we're struggling to develop our country. This is not a time to just appoint people based on the will of the president. Let us start looking at how we can employ people that will make a difference in the system. For example, the Ministry of Education. If you're building a Ministry of Education, put people in there that will create our curriculum to fit international standard or a standard that will benefit Liberia. Okay, let us look at security. Look at all the different sectors. Look at healthcare, for example, because that's my area. Healthcare. Let us put people there who will not just say sekwe or praise you or whatever, because we have qualified. I can say we have qualified people. And I'm not saying the person that is there is not qualified, but who are visionaries that could come and build Liberia healthcare system to make it better than it is. But since they spend a year, I don't see anything besides somebody come and say, "Oh yeah, I think we should allocate 20 million here to restructure this or to rehabilitate this." The reference hospital is still leaking. JFK still leaks. So after almost 20 years of some relative peace, what can we show besides serving at the will and pleasure of the president?
So, Sapolisi, I want to hold you there for a second, though. Are you saying that all of these factors that you are actually highlighting, whether it's the incapable person at some ministry or some organization, that agency that he or she should be managing, are you attributing all of these to the lack of education or qualification in credential?
Not exactly.
Okay, so those are two different things.
No. But what I'm saying is, Sheriff, look, I'm a laboratory scientist and I studied this and I love it. Okay. And most of us here who have our career field, whenever you are, if you earn the degree in that area, you always want to develop it to another level. Most of the people who really earn that degree that I have seen, if they are supported financially, because that could be another thing, because the government could put a qualified guy there, but they're not giving him he or she the resources to develop that system. Okay, so I'm not attributing everything to the lack of qualification. No, but I'm just telling you, if you are really qualified to serve in this position and you love that career field, you will always be working to develop it, sometimes with the little resources that you have. But if we look at the last 20 years, we are only developing individuals and not the country. Because the only people that are getting rich and getting structured are the individuals that are employing government. But if the institutions that they govern are not moving forward.
Okay, I see your point. Stephen, let me come to you real quick because I have another question. I really want us to get into it. Go ahead.
We have a caller in, so I will take the call, then we can go from.
Go ahead.
Hello, caller, your name and where you calling from?
This is Pro, calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
AB, you know.
All right, Ross Pro, go ahead. You got my time. Use it wisely.
Yeah, man, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much for the show, man. You know, I had a wrong message when Sherry said to close the segment after that the whole cruise. I said, man, I just got here. What do you mean closing the show? But anyway, yeah, but yeah, this is interesting. This is great. You know, I love these kind of topics. This is one of my favorite platform. But I got 2 points. My first one has to do with the previous segment concerning these fake scholarship. I don't know. I don't think the foreign minister, the foreign ministry is they were deliberately involved, or I know she was saying had this questionable credential, but honestly I don't think that she was deliberately involved in that scholarship scam. I think they were being duped as well, because guys, one of the comments I made there, when you look at modern technology, I saw one of these fake campuses. Look, guys, those people got their own college campus. They got phone number. They got contact. They got a basketball team. I'm telling you, they got volleyball. It looks so real. So I think it makes it difficult now for a guy in Riverside County. He go and scroll on the internet and see that college, something like that. He's not going to show to anybody because he thinks that's an opportunity, like Sapolisi said, desperation. And then he goes there and then he gets a dupe. So I think our government got duped as well. That's why I think they don't really know, because of modern technology. I don't think they can really tell. Guys, like Loya in the United States, it's also happening here too. So my second point to that, it brings me to the second point concerning these fake credentials. I think recently there was a guy, I think he was a representative. They just found out that this guy who document in America, it was fake. Imagine how long it took. The man served almost 8-9 years as a senator. So I think these things they are difficult now, because it takes a lot for people to find them out. And nobody really, only market college is doing it, and nobody really cares. Nobody cares. And even if they do find out, I think Liberians have reached the point that right now, we had a president, George Weah. He had a limited degree, but the fact that he was a president, and people say, well, we don't really need degrees anymore. Even George Weah himself admitted that, book would not build a country, and he had a large following. So to my question to you guys, Brother George, those of you who be extensively, in those colleges or university education, which department detects these fraud, like scholarship fraud? Which department in the Ministry of Education or the Department of Education in the United States? Is there a department that's supposed to detect these academic fraud, these scholarship fraud, these fake credentials? And if so, why aren't they catching it so fast? Why does it take so long before they find out, and then it's kind of late? That's my question. You guys, thanks for having me. I'll be following the show.
All right. Thank you, Reverse Pro. Dr. George, I'm going to bring that question to you, but before I say this, I'm going to put my little 2 cents in. Dr. George, you got 1 minute to answer the question. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Keep the question. Don't forget the question from Reverse Pro. But to just say my little piece, Reverse Pro, my own experience here, when I came from Liberia and packed my bag and came here to the States, and I decided I want to go back to university, the university said, welcome, come back. So I presented my little paper I brought from LU. They said, and it's not going to work. So they say you got to go to AccuPlace, so you got to do all these different things. But even at that, though, the document that I brought from Liberia, before they could tell me that they were not going to accept it, they actually allowed me, they told me to send it to a third-party organization. It was not even a university. They allowed me to send it to a third-party organization, send it to them, and that organization was there to vet my document to see if it came from a qualified university. And anyway, Dr. George, go ahead and answer the question. I'm just going to start from
you. Have already answered the question, Mr. Sheriff. Normally, it's not a duty of most of the time of the Ministry of Education. That's what we have. For example, in Liberia, we have the National Commission on Higher Education. That's their duty. They put on their website all the accredited university in the country. You see, we are so eager that we don't spend time to research. So if for example, I'm applying to a university here in the US, first of all, I want to know what the status of that university, ranking on the university is. So I'm going to go to the accreditation board, first of all, for the state. Perhaps I want to go to the university in the state of Texas. I'm going to go to Texas Educational Commission to see all the universities in Texas that are accredited. Then that's the first thing. Once I get to university that are accredited, then I want to go by ranking what I'm going to study. If I'm going to study education, for example, I want to know what the ranking of the universities in education. It is not all university. Harvard may be the #1 university in the world, but it may not be the #1 university in the world for education or for engineering. If I want to study engineering, I may go to MIT instead of going to Harvard. So that's it. But there are bowls. There are different bowls that have recorded. For example, when the Stanton Waterspoon situation took place, I did a research and found out that this school was accredited by the state of how they call it, by the state of Florida. It was accredited by the state of Florida. But then when you go deeper, it was the programming that had a problem. It's not that it was it was the programming that had the nature of the programming that had a problem. So when you apply for a university something, you need to go. As I said, I had a friend when I was working in Liberia who came with say he had a PhD. He gave me a degree. I went to the college website. The college website stated totally that what they gave, they are not accredited in a state, but they gave degree for people who want to work in a specific area and that this degree will not be accepted by most people. If waiting on the side, most places will not accept this degree. I told him, well, this degree is not valuable. What you have, besides it was a doctorate degree and not a PhD.
Yeah, guys, I have one more question. I'm sorry, Dr. Joe. I got one more question I want to put out here. River Sespra, I hope that answered the question, but I got one more question. I want to start with you, Dr. Sapalucia. I call you honorary doctor. You're not a real doctor, so let me be clear here. But I want to go with Sapalucia. Is higher education overrated? And I know this question I'm asking you is it comes for because when you look at the numbers since 2010 in the United States of America, higher education enrollment has dropped. There are a lot of young people choosing now to bypass higher education. E-commerce is the thing. They are doing other things to make money. And so college enrollment have dropped in the United States of America. I think by 2022, you only had like 38% of high school graduates going to college. So is higher education in the context of getting qualified, is it overrated? Because you can look at the example of Darius DeLon. You can say, well, we can question his credential, whether he's a high school graduate or not. But look at what he does in the Senate. Forget about anything else. Look at the way he conducts himself in the Senate. He conducts himself as one of the most respectable people in our Senate. And he is respected. No matter how you think about his politics, I think he is very respected. Conduct himself very well. It comes with experiences that he had gathered or he had learned during other positions he's held. So is higher education overrated, or do we care for the experience that person brings to the table?
And thank you for coming to me first, because these are some of the things some of us have tried to push for, and people don't understand. And I will always say this: looking at Liberia, especially where we came from, the war, some of us always felt that yes, while it is true, getting the degree and all these things were important, we should have directed our focus on vocational education for the development of Liberia, to start building our infrastructure, to get those who are traumatized already in line with some skills that can give them the ability to participate or to be fully involved in the development of Liberia. Yes, in my opinion, at this time, especially in the African setting, higher education have been overrated. Because I know, like you guys always say, Emmanuel, that, and you guys are not the only one calling me doctor here, because everywhere I go, oh, doctor, and I keep telling them I don't want to be a doctor, because it's just some title somebody want to grab and put on you, and some of the people who call doctor. I have debated with some doctors, and Sheriff, I'm telling you, don't call them. I don't even want to call them bachelor degree holder before I say doctor degree holders, because, and that's what I respect. And Dr. George, no offense to me, no how to call it to you, no disrespect to you. But that's why I respect we in the medical field, going with earn medical doctor degree. That is a degree that is, in my opinion, scientifically proven that you're a medical doctor, right? It's not the one based on philosophy. So no disrespect to you, Dr. George. But to be frank, it is overrated in our African system or our African culture. We need to focus on what developed the nation, what developed our people, instead of focusing on doctor this and doctor that, or master degree this and master degree that. Not that they are not needed. But for a country like Liberia, what is actually needed is skills that we can use to develop our country. So I think we need it is not late. Any government can start doing that. Let us focus on how the young population in our country, we've got about 80% that cannot go to school now. How can we grab that age group and redirect them to vocational school where their skills will be used. Now, when you use Derek Dillon as an example, yes, I do respect that. Why it is true, people say he didn't graduate from high school, he didn't do that, but he conducted himself better than, I can say, better than people who had that degree in the Senate, people who had law degree in the Senate. I can give you references, and I don't care whether they don't like Dr. George Bowley, who was in the Senate. What could he do? Somebody was in his county trying to develop education in his county, and he criticized that person. This is a doctorate degree. Vanish Sherman, who used to be a counselor at law, he's there defending things that you are compromising the Constitution. Why he was senator in the state. So these are things that I believe it doesn't matter the so-called education. What matters is how is that education being used to develop our country. That's what matters to me.
Thank you so much. And for the record's sake, our good doctor here, Dr. George, just so for the record's sake, the man does not even want us to call him doctor. Just so you know, even though he has a degree and this is what he worked so hard to earn, but he does not want to be called doctor. I'm the one who just keep calling it until it got stuck on him, but he does not even care for it. That's how you know that's a real person who got it. But those who got the fake one, they always want to, you call them Mr. George and say, I'm Dr. George, So anyway, yeah, he earned it. And so that's for the record. So Stephen, let me come to you. I want to make Dr. George last. Let me come to you on this particular question too. Is higher education overrated?
Yes. Higher education, there's an importance of it. So I won't, it's a slim place to say it's overrated, especially so for me who pursued that for a long time. So for me to be where I am today, I had to pursue higher education. So I wouldn't say it's overrated, but like Sapolosia was saying, based on our circumstances in Africa, right, we have to redefine our educational system based on what we live for, right? So in society, we live to make money, teach our children how to make money. In society, we live to build houses, we build roads and stuff, teach our children how to build roads. And then if somebody decide after learning all those skills to want to become a chemical engineer or a doctor or something, then that person can decide to go pursue higher education. But the thing that is killing our country today and is killing our society is the fact that we have this thing where we say, Johnny from all the way River says, who are working on a farm, making cassava, already making money. We now tell Johnny to come to Monrovia, have to go to school for almost 14, 15 years with some philosophy degree, sociology degree, and then he come from there, he doesn't have nothing to offer society. And that's the mistake we are making. So I would say yes and no to your answer in terms of wasting people's time. But if we put higher education towards a specific goal, then I think it's better for the society. And then just to answer one of your other questions, you didn't involve me in this, was
you gave your turn to River Says Pro, so I couldn't involve you.
No, I was joking, my man. I was joking. I said, so let me answer it quick. Does qualification matters?
30
right?
seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds, please. Does qualification matters? And I say yes, because if qualification don't matter, we have situation where I'm going to call somebody's name and they're going to insult my parents and everything. But Prophet Key is running to become a senator, was running to become a senator. This person on social media insults everybody he gets in connection with, right? I don't know his credential or anything, but what level of qualification? Now the NEC deny him. He's online cursing everybody, parents and stuff. And these are the things that we accept when we say qualification don't matter. So I personally say qualification does matter, because if we just say open door society for everybody that wants something, then our society will fail. You understand? Then let's just close all the university if qualification don't matter.
Okay, all right, gentlemen. We our time is up now with the radio station, but I really want Dr. George, the man who spent his whole life in education, to take us home on that question. Is higher education overrated? Dr. George, please take the question, because I really want us to spend 2 minutes after this.
You're not doctor.
Yeah, so I want us to spend 2 minutes. Finish us so we can spend some time with the radio station with Chris. Please do not hang up. Dr. George, answer the question.
No, it's not overrated. It's just that we don't understand higher education. Many people don't understand it, so they feel it's overrated. right? Your first degree, you study broadly. Now, if you study broadly and you feel you don't have a grasp of something specific, then you go and do a master's degree. By the time you reach to doing a PhD, that means you are telling yourself, I want to be a researcher. I want to be an expert in this particular area. So it's not overrated. It's just that we don't understand what higher degree is all about. The second phase of the question is that there are things you study that you don't need higher degree for. For example, if you study accountancy, you don't need to go for a master's degree in accounting or PhD accounting, except you want to be a university teacher. There are professionals program you do, CPA or whatsoever. That's the professional program for accountant. That's why you want to go. If you are an engineer, sometimes as an engineer, you study master's degree, you can't find a job because it's based on the experience, the actual experience in the field. By the time you do master PhD again, you go into academics. So it's not overrated. It's just that we don't understand what higher degree is all about. I will close, for example, if you won't mind. I have a first degree. I went for a second degree. The only thing I studied in my master's degree was U.S.-Liberia relationship before 2003. That's why I said I wanted to study. I researched on that, and I can speak to my mind. When I went to do a PhD, I researched on U.S., not U.S. Liberia, but local Liberia conflict. So my whole study have been Liberia, Sierra Leone. So conflict and how women participated in those conflicts. I cannot sit there and leave from there and say I got a PhD because I got PhD all around the place. No, there's if you are employed in a university as a teacher, you are employed for a specific reason as a PhD holder. You are not employed to go and teach everything in a university. You are employed to teach. For example, when I work at the University of Liberia, I did only international relation courses. I only did courses that had to do with either the analysis of foreign policy or the theoretical part of policy. I can jump from there and start to go and do something else that I did not study for. So it's just the mindset. We just think you go to school, you want master degree, you join, go get master degree. And finally, let me close this. When I was working in Nigeria in my department, there's a guy who came to be employed. He had 4 master's degree. You know what we say on the panel? This man is confused. Because that was the collective agreement of the panel. This man is confused, and because he's confused, we cannot employ him. We cannot employ someone in the academic that is confused. How can you get him 4 master's degree? It's just how to cut it. So it's not a degree that having problems. People understanding. So every time someone wake up, they want to get degree in this thing, degree in that one. Thank you so much,
Dr. George, okay. Dr. Positive, who is not a real doctor, Dr. Lucia, who is a social scientist, laboratory scientist. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for lending your voices to this. And to our brothers and sisters in Liberia, we know the struggle in Liberia. We know everybody want to leave Liberia. And again, I don't want to generalize to say everybody, but most young people want to leave the country. And because you want to leave the country so much, you are falling victim to a lot of these different scams taking place in the country. We don't want you to fall victim to these things. I think one of the best advice you could have ever received from today's broadcast came from Mr. Positive, Dr. Positive. He said, you got friends here in the United States, or you got brothers in the United States, you got somebody on social media in the US. If there's an opportunity that falls in your lap and you say, wow, this looks like a scholarship opportunity, send it to one of your friends. Let them do the work for you. Research it for you. Do not give anybody $2. Don't give anybody any money in Monrovia who promise you a scholarship, who promise to do this for you without you first vetting and verifying that scholarship is legitimate. On that note, we want to say thank you so much. Hopefully, this platform have given you something that you can kind of grow on, help you to develop as you go through your own research, as you go through your own understanding of what higher education is all about. Thank you, gentlemen, again, for your voices. Thank you so much, Freedom FM 87.9. We want to say, on this note, we are going home, and by the grace of God, we will see you all next week. On Sunday, we'll be here. And gentlemen, please stay back here for a second, and we will wrap some things up. But thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week.